All right, what's up, beautiful people? It's your boys, the Beards of War. You got myself, Thick Nick Fury. You got FBR for President, Fat Broker Rambo, and behind the scenes, K Hey Captain Jack. And we're here. We're doing a little wild hair episode. We're going to talk about the much anticipated season 3 of Yellowjackets. We've been
Oh
waiting for this
yeah.
thing for like a decade. It feels like a decade. I feel like I've been on the island with these girls and we've been waiting for rescue. It is time to get into it. We got 2 episodes to talk about. A lot to unpack. If you haven't been following the show, I don't know what you're waiting on. Like it is a phenomenal show. It's one of those shows that will give you lots of questions from. But it's one of those interesting stories because there are like two timelines that go on simultaneously, and it's a phenomenal storyline. I don't know, man. Where do you want to start, FBR?
I don't know, man. So I guess we'll kick it off with like a quick recap at the end of season two. So the 1996, I believe, timeline has all the ladies kind of like looking for shelter. The cabin just got set on fire. We don't know who did it. Hashtag it ain't
Yeah, it ain't Coach
Coach
Scott,
Ben.
right?
Yeah, Ben Scott, right? It ain't Coach, man. Don't fucking eat him. All right. And and then in the current timeline, which is I think still set in 2021, Misty accidentally killed Natalie. Callie is obviously dealing with some trauma with Shauna and Jeff. And basically the whole ending of the season two where Lottie gets sent off to the insane asylum and or for clinical evaluation. And Van and Ty are still trying to kind of like piece that relationship back together again while Ty still deals with her wife.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, man, it's all kinds of crazy. I was super excited to get back. I know a lot of fans are kind of upset about the time jump. I for one am very happy with the time jump because honestly, the winter setting of the past timeline didn't do it for me. There was some scenes where I'm like, oh yeah, that's a real setting, but the close-in proximity shots of the cabin and especially the snow, it just screamed fake to me. I know they were on a sound stage. The cold breath was CGI'd. I understand you can't put actors and actresses in that situation because they're gonna freeze and get pneumonia and shit. But for me, like that was one of those small details that kind of broke immersion. But man, I am jazzed. It's been like a year and a half, I think. We had the writer's strike, then we had the actor strike, and all kinds of fucking chaos ensued. But we're back, man. First 2 episodes came out. They came out swinging, did some bold moves. It opens up on the 96 timeline where you see Mari getting chased by Shauna. It almost looks like a hunt, and then we realize quick, fast, in a hurry that it's not really a hunt. It's actually them playing a game for like, champion of the village. And then they get, catered to for the rest of the day, that kind of shit. I think it's a morale building event. Nat's clearly in charge, and it seems like she's kind of got her like vice president, so to speak, or her cabinet. She's got Van, she's got Ty, and then the third one was, and it's escaping me, but I can't think of it. Misty is definitely not invited to the fucking party though.
No.
Um, and then we flash back to the present timeline of 2021. It's been 6 weeks. Nat has been cremated, and the trauma is kind of spread out across the team. Van, Ty, and Shauna are all kind of like throwing some back, cheering Natalie. But Missy's nowhere to be seen. Missy's dealing with it on a different level. Walter's kind of trying to snap her out of it, and it's just not going well. Like she's obviously in a deep depression, having accidentally injected ketamine into her buddy's chest and killing her.
Hmm.
Hey, yeah, bad day for all. Um, and then you got Callie, which Callie for me has kind of come really far as a character. I hated her in the beginning, and now the family kind of has like this open kimono approach to parenting. Um, we know that she is trying to process just as much as the rest of them are, and maybe she's just accepting of Jeff's blackmail, Shauna's marital
Right.
affair
Murders.
slash
Yeah.
murder slash cannibalism, all kinds of shit. And she's just looking to kind of like fit into society again, but she's not taking shit from nobody.
Dude, Callie
Um,
has adjusted quickly. Okay. And she like, and it's funny because she's like what, 16, 17, I think now. And
yeah,
she's like so matter of fact, like, really, oh, we're gonna be judgmental when we have murderers and all this stuff going on. Like, what are we even talking about?
yeah,
And it's
she's talking
like,
about the dishes.
right? It's like, yeah, okay, like big deal, right? At this point, come on, we're in the sauce, right? So Callie is
Yeah,
accepting of it. So it's almost like Jeff and Sean are the one that are in denial, right? Like Shauna should already know, like, come on, like your girl is basically inheriting some of your traits, right? And just
yeah,
from being her. And Jeff is like kind of like, where what do I do? Where am I? Like he's completely just along for the ride, and I feel bad for that dude.
I, I'm Jeff is kind of like Scott, Coach Ben Scott.
Mm,
Like I'm
right.
rooting for him, man. Like you almost feel bad for the guy for the most part because like
Mm,
his character is so well written and he gets most of the time to shine. Like all the moments that the fans look back on, to include myself,
hmm
is all around Jeff, man. Like between what are you talking about? There is no book club to the scene where he's like punching the minivan to Papa Roach. I'm just like, dude, and then was it him and his daughter and his wife are getting interrogated by the cops in season two, and he's sitting there just rocking out to NWA, fuck the police, man. It's
Right.
just phenomenal, right? I love it, man. And it's those few moments in this show where you get like some humor and you're just like, man, they really nail it when they actually put it out there.
Right.
But Jeff is like one of the most rational characters in the show, and like
Right.
nobody fucking listens to him.
Dude, Shauna
Um,
wears the pants, clearly.
she
Clearly in that
absolutely
match.
does.
Even
She
in that
absolutely does.
business meeting where like Shauna's like so distracted with, texting, finding out what's going on because, Lottie showed up at the house
Mm,
and oh yeah, like Misty, come watch Lottie and my daughter. Like Misty is the person you decided to call. Misty has like she tries, she really does, but Misty has no business being in charge of anything. And she's like texting, trying to find out what's going on at home. And Jeff is floundering in his meeting with these two young, real estate tycoons. And Shauna just comes back to the table and just completely crushes the dude. She's like, "Oh yeah, what did your father do? Oh, he's retired. Oh, retired from what?" He's like, "Real estate." Funny. Your dad was a real estate mogul, and here you are, the same type of business. Yeah,
yeah,
you don't deserve his furniture. I'm like, wow, like she just completely shut down the meeting. Even his partner was like, wow,
like
like
a
I
fucking
have to
boss too,
respect this
man.
girl, right? Like a boss
Yeah.
and just gets up and leaves. And Jeff just follows. Like Jeff is literally just along for the ride, man. He has, he tries, man. He's trying to be the head of the household, but it is not working.
Yeah, and what's interesting is we move beyond that aspect. We get back to Misty, and Misty's trying to tie one on because she tapped her inner Natalie. So basically, Walter baits her out of her depression in her bedroom by presenting a key, and the key is to Natalie's storage unit, the one that we see in season one, the Porsche was stored at, and she had the rifle. She goes in there and starts organizing Nat's stuff in regards of like keep, special, blah blah blah. And she comes across her jacket. She throws the jacket on. She goes to a local bar. And here's the thing. Did you happen to catch that? And my wife and all of her intelligence pointed this out to me. That the same bartender, I'm sorry, the bartender in that scene with Misty that's pouring a whiskey is the same dude that Shauna pulls the gun on to get her fucking minivan back in season two.
Oh no, I did not
It's the
notice
same
that.
guy, man. It really
No
is.
way.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Good eyes,
Oh,
honey.
dude,
Thank you. I
moonlighting
love
as a
you.
criminal. Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
It's
Hey,
fucking crazy, right?
gotta eat.
Um, which is interesting because like I think that shit was deliberate. You don't bring the same actor back a year and a half later for like a bit scene. So there's a couple instances like that that obviously shit's gonna come back to bite us in the ass, or as far as the characters are concerned. There's an interesting scene, and I'm gonna say the term interesting because if I was let down by any sequence in the first two episodes, it was this one, and it's when um Van and Ty are having the kind of this blowout. Like, Van doesn't want to be with Ty because Ty is still married. Understandably, like that would be a problem for most people. Um, and so she convinces her to go to dinner. They go to dinner and they decide to like relive their teenage years and do a dine and dash. And for all those at home that don't know what dine and dash is, basically you eat and then you make a run for it, so you don't have to pay the check. And the waiter, like this waiter is like fucking Captain America, man, because like he's like, no, I'm gonna get my money, and like chases them for blocks across traffic, and then he heart attacks out, and he's gone, he's a goner. And then the next sequence is they kind of Van shows some regret for what they did, and Ty decides to go back. I don't know why Ty goes back because of the two of them. The former New Jersey senator probably shouldn't be the one that's going in there because she's publicly known. I would say
Right.
maybe Van should go ahead and bite the bullet on that one and just go in there. But hey,
Right.
man, that's clearly going to come back to haunt them. In that sequence when they're making a run for it, just before they get discovered, and they're kind of making out in the alleyway, uh, we get to see an old character come back, and it's the Ty's hallucination of the man with no eyes, which,
Mhm.
according to her grandmother, I think represented death.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
that was the Grim Reaper that came for her on her deathbed. So
But now here's the thing. I believe the reason why Van didn't go was because remember she injured herself, I believe, right? And then she's got the cancer thing going on. Remember she stepped on the glass or something like that.
that's right. That's right. Yeah,
So
yeah.
that could be the reason.
Does
But
she
again,
though? Like
and I
the
think
glass?
Ty, right when she stepped on the, was that before? That was that. Yeah, it was after the
No,
dinner.
that was after because they go back to the house and do their thing and they're intimate, and then the next morning, Ty comes back with like coffee or something like that, and then
Right,
they're kissing, and I think Van backs up onto the glass if I remember right. I've watched it a
right.
few times now.
Okay, good. Cause
But so yeah, so it's after the waiter has passed.
right.
That occurs. Yeah.
And I think at that point Ty already kind of realizes like her career's done, right? Because she's alluded to it a couple of times, like yeah, like it's
Yeah,
everything's going to
she's
shit pretty much.
self-impeached, I guess. I think she
Right,
bowed
yeah,
out because
something
her
like that.
wife
So she kind
was,
of it looks like she kind of gave up on that life,
yeah,
right?
I
I
think
mean, you
so.
got bodies now, right? You got bodies showing up. You're an accomplice, so yeah. I mean, Office.
It's
Not to say
probably
it
good to get out
can't
of the public
happen.
eye.
Not to say you can't get away with it, but I don't know. Maybe not at the senator level. Um, but what I'm saying is like Ty and Van's relationship is kind of like one of those, okay, are we doing this or not? Because at this point, Van dying from cancer, you got all the stuff going on with the girls from from the past, and we still have, and which I find interesting, it's almost like we're introducing new characters in the past. Like Marie is kind of coming up as a
Mm,
new
yep.
character. There's I can't remember her name, the blonde girl that Shauna ends up kissing.
That is Melissa.
Right, Melissa. I'm like,
So
okay, where did he come from?
she was, oh, okay. So here, I'm gonna solve the problem for you real quick.
Okay,
So the sequence where Callie witnesses the three girls in high school being like fucking disrespectful to her mom, and she just decides to do the revenge thing with
right.
the pig guts. In that sequence, they actually like zone in on the team photo, right? So I did a quick head count. There's 17 in the photo, 17 or 16. I think it's 16 actually. 16 in the photo. You minus the one that took out, that got her shin taken out in season one. So you're down to 15. That matches the number that I did the initial build upon for the team of survivors in like episode two, I think, when they do the mass funeral around the aircraft. I
Mm-hmm.
did a head count there. So those characters have been there in the background. So Melissa is the one with the hat backwards that kisses Shauna.
Okay.
And then Jen is the new hunter. So
Okay.
both of them were in season two, right? And so is Crystal. And Crystal, no one else is talking about Crystal. It's kind of weird.
Right.
Um, so it makes me think that Crystal was a figment of Missy's imagination because no one's
Interesting.
talking about her body. No one's found it. No one's
You are
actually
deep
actively
diving
looking.
in this, bro. You're doing
Oh,
head
dude, I'm a
counts.
fucking ultra nerd for this
I
show, man. I love this
see.
shit.
I need to up my game.
Yeah, you
Okay.
do.
I'm on it now.
All
Okay.
right.
Hey, but like I said, so now the going back to the cabin being burnt down, and we
Yep.
kind of find out from Marie that Coach Scott didn't actually do it, but he does come across this bunker of like hidden like
Oh, Mari.
supplies,
Mari.
right? Yeah, Mari, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Mari kind of gets rescued by Coach Scott, but then he's like, Nope, I can't let you go back because you know where I am.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay,
Smart.
so
No,
now you
that's
got an
smart.
interesting dynamic there. So you can't, it's not like you can give it time and then let it go back. You pretty much have to keep her the entire
Yeah.
time,
So
right?
what you want to talk about that pit for a quick second?
Yeah.
Because I'm all into this pit thing, right? I am teach. I am team fucking coach, man. Like I want him to survive. Like I need him to be the guy who is in the background in the present timeline, like sending all the blackmail or not the blackmail because that was Jeff, the
Mhm.
postcards and shit. Like he needs to be the one.
Right.
And I it can go either way, man. The trailer of the season makes me think he's not going to survive, but fuck, I hope he does.
Hmm.
So he's walking around the woods. He's established some snares. Good for him, man. That's fucking great TTP. I love the fact that he uses acorns to bait it. Obviously, the wildlife is a little bit smarter than his obvious traps, but he's working it right. And then he comes across a hollow floor, and he's tapping it with his crutches, and he uncovers it. And what's interesting is, and it's kind of like shifted the dynamic of the proposed character cabin daddy, right? The guy who actually owned the cabin. We found his body, had the rifle and all that stuff like that. Everyone in the fandom calls him cabin daddy. So like what's interesting is that equipment to include the tap boxes that are in there is relatively new, right? So like cabin daddy can't be that old if this is connected to him. So the engravings on it is KUH. I saw some Reddit fan theories that it might stand for like a mining company out of Calgary. I
Okay.
haven't really explored that 100%, but it's interesting because shelf life of MREs, and most of us that are in the military know this, is like shelf life is 25 years. So like I've never wanted to not watch somebody eat a protein bar like like Coach did, but man,
Yeah.
like
Inhale it. Yeah.
he
He
didn't fuck
inhaled it.
around. He just shoved that whole thing in his mouth, and I'm like, oh man,
No water
I'm
with
like,
that. Okay.
yeah, right, no water.
Interesting. Yeah, that's good.
But
That's
hey,
gonna
man,
come out hard.
he's got resupplies and like a quick look at like you pause in the box. There's a fair amount of good supplies in there that can sustain him for a long time. And there's
Right.
three damn boxes plus one water can.
Right.
Yeah, that's how much I pay attention to this shit.
Yeah, I
Because
see.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
sorry, man. Like
Okay.
this is
Yeah.
what you get.
Any Playboys in
Um,
there? I don't know. Like, I'm just
no, like
saying.
he had lanterns and like yeah, I can keep going on. Anyways, but he has to haul the boxes back, and that's when he's smart enough to actually reestablish the pit. And he does it as like a booby trap. And I did like obviously he was going for a deer, wasn't going for
Hmm.
Mari, but then he finds
Right.
Mari later. And he pulls her out and basically binds her up and blindfolds her to bring her back to his hideout
Right.
because and he had no idea what the fire. And that was interesting because Mari was like, "You set the fire." He's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I still want to be a cannibal."
Right.
So I always thought that it was too easy for Ben to be the one that started the fire. I never thought it was him. I just don't think that the girls are gonna buy it. I think they're gonna act first and potentially fucking kill him before the truth comes out.
I think it's one of the girls,
I
honestly.
think it's
And
I think it's Van.
you think Van?
I think Van is one of the villains of the story. We just don't see it yet.
Okay. I like that theory. Honestly, I think it's Shauna.
Hmm.
Because of
I can
what
see that
Shauna
too.
went through. Like Shauna is like almost like the on the outside, the only one that's like, this is wrong, this is stupid. You guys are acting like my baby didn't exist. Like, so she's really having issues kind of adapting, whereas the other girls have kind of embraced it. So she
Yeah.
might be like, you guys all need to die because you're all sick, you know. So, and I don't like you probably paid attention to this, but like, who evacuated the cabin when it was on fire? Like one of those like, oh well, I never saw her actually run out with the rest of them, or did she run out first? Was she like, oh, you know what I mean? Like if you kind of set a booby trap, but you can kind of get yourself out of it kind of easily, kind of thing. So you look like you're one of the victims, but you're actually not.
Yeah.
So
The only heartache I've got is that the door was locked on him and the fire started from the outside. So and Shauna
mhm.
is the one that alerts everybody because she's up in the attic. I think she's journaling at the time
Right,
when she
right.
alerts everybody. But I think is it Van or Ty is the last one out.
Okay.
And so I still have plenty of questions. Like I want to know who had the structure guide to help them build the wooden teepees and shelters they have.
Right, right.
Like I think
It's
that's Cabin Daddy. I think he had those books in the
in the cabin.
cabin.
Yeah, okay.
And if it's not him, then I would put my money on Misty because Misty looks like a prepper, and I think she'd be ready for that kind of shit. She
Misty, yeah,
strikes
she
me
is like the X Factor. Like
strikes me as the
anything going crazy, you think, oh, it's got to be Misty. She's involved somehow.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Um,
yeah.
but one of the interesting dynamics or I don't know symbolism that I saw symbolism was in the very beginning of episode one when they actually win the game because there's a working theory that the girls are going to fracture into two tribes and the two tribes are going to kind of have like warring factions. What I found interesting was it seemed like the true believers were inside the circle of the champions of the day competition, and then everyone on the outside kind of like lined with Shauna
They all
as far
accepted.
as like, Melissa was one of the outsiders. But all the true believers like Misty and all of them were on the inside of the circle. And it makes me think that they're forecasting the split in the group
Just playing
because
right.
Shauna's
Okay.
not having the fucking Lottie shit. She's not doing seances and stuff like that. She's very angry because I think that she feels that they're using her baby and that its death as a it's like a catalyst to talk to the wilderness and shit like that. We haven't even gotten to that part yet.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then, Coach Scott is like, thinking they killed Bobby's brother. And they didn't kill him, but they didn't save him, right?
Yeah,
Like, we didn't kill him,
fine
but
line. Yeah,
the nature, right? So there's a lot of seemingly like misunderstanding, which will lend to like who's doing what
yeah,
at the end of the
yeah.
day. So that's kind of like what we're waiting to see, right? This is like I said, that's one of those more questions than answers. We also don't know who else actually survived from the rescue, right? Like we
We
follow
don't.
our core
Right.
group, which makes it interesting when you see like a new character kind of elevate a little bit from the time frame back in the 90s. It's like, huh, okay, well, what's going on with her? Like, where is she? Did she survive? Like, so you have a lot of questions about who actually made it out, and you have what like Shauna finding that phone in the bathroom, like who's behind that kind of thing. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the show that hasn't been answered yet,
Yeah.
and it
And
could be anybody,
I really feel
literally.
like they presented a fair amount of mystery in 2 episodes. There's the scene where Shauna and Ty and Van are at the bar and they're throwing shots back. There's a scene where you see it from a different person's perspective looking at them, and it's a silhouette of a woman with long hair, or
Mm,
what I'm assuming to be a woman with long hair. Um, and then that same outline appears again outside of Shauna's house just before Callie discovers the envelope addressed to Shauna with the symbol and her name on it. And there's the old, is it 8 millimeter? I don't remember those small cartridges from VCR
oh, the cassette,
camcorders back
yeah,
in the day, right? The cassette that
right.
goes in the cassette and then you can put it in a VCR.
Hmm.
Um, and Callie grabbed the tape. No one knows that she's got it. So it's going to be interesting to see what's on the tape and how she's going to disclose this to Shauna and that kind of thing. I still think that there's an element. Okay, so either I think it's this. There is a family relative that is tracking them, or it's like somebody that's connected to Scott or Ben Scott.
Okay,
One of those
like
two
Ben's ex-lover, maybe.
potentially, but it's it looks like it's the build of a female, especially with the hair. I'm just drawing a conclusion. Um, I think that's Hilary Swank's character because you don't
Mhm.
bring in an Academy Award winning actress just for a throwaway role. I don't think personally, I wouldn't invest that. I think she's going to be something significant. I don't think she's going to be a survivor, so I'm kind of interested to see where that goes. Um, One of the Reddit theories that I saw earlier was that what if they all get out and they actually kill one of their own to keep the story going in the rescue timeline? Because the third timeline is supposedly coming this
Mm,
season, where they're going to
okay,
show rescue or post rescue storylines. So if that's the case, and they kill one of their own to kind of cover up whatever is the last of the crazy shit they've done in the wilderness, that
right.
might be interesting.
I like it. I bet. Listen, like I said, I'm invested to see where it goes, and
Yeah.
that's the thing about it. There's so many theories that you can take
Yep.
on, but like I said, who the core group is, but that's not all, right? So there's more to the story that they can expound on. Um, Again, like with Callie and the way she just able to manipulate Lottie and Misty was like really like you guys are getting outsmarted by a 17-year-old that wants to play truth or dare like it, and it's almost like she can get everything out of them, and she's so calculated, right? She's like this is literally Shauna's like persona. Like she can, okay, I know how to get this information out of them, and she's like she basically drugged Misty like with cold medicine to knock her out because she knew why Misty was there to like kind of keep tabs on
Yeah.
Lottie. She didn't do a good job, so I don't even know why Shauna thought that was going to be the one to get it done. But I mean, what Walter said made sense. Like they only call you when they need you. Like they're not calling. They didn't call you to get
Yeah.
involved with the funeral. They don't really call you just to see how you're doing. It's like, oh, we need something. Let's call Misty. So Misty's trying to tell Walter, like, no, they're my friends. Like, we're together in all this. When they're
They're
trying
clearly
to
not.
distance themselves, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's going an interesting route. And Lottie, like I said, just showing up on their doorstep. And I'm like, you're not saying, hey, didn't you just try to kill me? You know what I mean? And it's just like, yeah, no, let her stay. And Callie, the one, just like, oh, well, really, are we going to be judgmental based on what we've been doing? So it's like, good point. And they have to literally listen to this girl, and like, she makes the most sense. So she's
Yeah.
like, yeah, and I'm in charge now.
Right.
Look at me. Look at me.
There's also the whole wilderness aspect, right? So like there's a scene where Lottie takes Travis out in the woods and gives him what I'm assuming is mushrooms, and he
Yeah,
starts tripping and
the
he
woods
hears
or
the
something.
wilderness like kind of like screaming. And it's funny because the second time when Lottie tries to grab him before they go looking for Mari, he kind of like tries to like pass off to somebody else, be like, well, this person talks to the
Yeah, it
animals,
doesn't
so
want me, right?
you
He
should
says the
really do
wilderness
this.
doesn't want me. Yep.
Um, I don't know, like, the theory that there is still a supernatural element to this show, like at this point, I don't want it to go supernatural. I want it to be like hallucinations and stuff like that. Like their environment is fucking with them because they're, sleep deprived, starved, extremely stressed, that
Right.
kind of shit. I don't know that a supernatural angle works for this show at this point because we haven't really established it.
Right,
Like, is there
like Nia
something?
Zendaya's character, the I can't, and I'm sorry I don't know her name in the show, but the young black girl with the mouse,
Aquila.
Akila, right? Okay, she
Yep.
thought the mouse was alive, right? And so
Yeah.
she's literally playing with it and everything. You find out it's actually dead. So I'm like, that's what I like. I like the fact that okay, you're seeing it one way,
Right.
and they're like, but that mouse is dead. Like it had, for a long time, that kind of thing. So
But
I like
in
that
that
part.
in that part of the season, and that's in season two, but that part makes sense because she's hallucinating because she's, starving. And
Right.
now they're flourishing, right? Because it's spring and like Aquila is like taking care of the fucking ducks and the rabbits. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. Like SEER school instructors would be impressed that you guys are able to put all this shit together in a matter of a couple of weeks after
Right.
your shelter got burned down in the middle of a fucking
I'm
snowstorm.
telling you, quick recovery time.
Um,
Where'd you get the wood? I'm just saying.
well, I mean, they're surrounded by woods, so I mean,
Yeah, but this was like in the middle of winter, right?
yeah, I mean, like I don't think their shelters are okay. So there's a couple of things where I guess I thought I was like, man, if I was in that situation, what I would do is like the meat locker would be the first place I'd go. So
Hmm.
they had the meat locker. So there is a shelter that's clearly away from the cabin. You could probably sustain there for a little bit of time, body to body and stay warm kind of thing. But yeah, long term, you have to establish shelter pretty damn quick. Um, and I think that's plausible. It doesn't bother me. I don't hang up on it. The waiter having the heart attack, that storyline to me is kind of like a MacGuffin. Like you wrote that shit out to give them something to complicate their storyline.
Right. Yeah. I'm like that.
Obviously, it's going to be something because we've put so much attention into it, but I hope it's not something like Adam. Like Adam in season one turned out to be nothing. And I know he was supposed to be something, and now it's just kind of like, what did we just spend the season on?
Right. Yeah. Or
So
make it an older waiter. At least make it believable.
yeah,
Like the guy was like 25, has a heart attack. Well, he almost got hit by a bus, so I guess that would kind of,
it would be
shock
a
you a little bit.
slightly jarring, I suspect.
But still, like, okay, maybe give me a slightly older waiter, maybe trying to make ends meet with his social security or something like that and chases him down because he needs the money. That makes more sense to me. But then they go back and they have like a freaking like the waiter picture out there with candles. Like, who does that in a restaurant? Like, what where people can actually see it? No, I don't know.
I just
But
want to know what waiter is going to chase people down. Like,
I believe
you
it
know,
would happen because from what I've heard, the waiter are responsible for that
oh,
bill.
for the tab. Yeah, I've heard that
Yeah.
too.
So
Man,
I'm like, nah, bro, I need that money, man. They ain't tipping out these days. They ain't
but
tipping. So nah, I need that money. Like,
but the
no.
absolute risk that you take, man, because you never know, dude. Motherfuckers will pull a gun out and fucking smoke you for
Waiters,
less.
we need you to weigh in on this, okay?
Yeah, tell us.
Somebody
Put us in the
comes to your
comments, man.
establishment
Would you chase down two people
and
for
leave
fucking a
you with a
tip?
$250 tab. I'm not sure how much it cost, but it's a pricey place. Leave you with a
Yeah,
big tab. What you doing? You chase them down, you be like, oh, don't worry about it. Thank you for your service. No, you going, I'm regulating. So, and I mean, and plus, they're two ladies at the table, so you're probably not really fearful of them, like doing anything uh, um
true.
that type of violent to you. But yeah, maybe a couple of big, buff dudes with some look like have some machine guns in the jacket. Yeah, maybe you let that one go. But too late. Okay, ladies, you're drunk. I'm sorry. I need you guys to pay the tab, that kind of thing, because I don't have the money for this.
I don't know
Um,
that I would chase them city blocks of that.
no, no. But you do the hey, okay, come back here, you, and
Yeah,
I'm like an old man when you do that. That's probably where we are right now. Like that's probably us. Like, hey man, I'm gonna give you that stern. Hey, no, I'm not running after you.
no,
I don't have it. I don't have it in me anymore.
I'm
Mm-mm.
fucking brittle, man.
I'm brittle and I'm
But I,
lazy.
I would say that if I was going to end these first two seasons, and I don't really have a whole lot, I'm going to go over my notes real quick with you guys to make sure I didn't miss anything because I actually took fucking notes for this one.
Yeah, you
Um,
did.
I would say that the one question I really am excited to find the answer to is there's a sequence where Mari and Coach Scott are in his hideaway, right? Like underneath the trees, that little cave system he found.
Mhm.
There's a sequence where he goes back behind and you see a shadow, right? And he's talking. My question is like, is he talking to himself or is he talking to Javi's friend or an unknown? And
Mm,
that's what I'm fucking stupid excited about because like we still haven't answered Javi's question. Like, who is Javi's friend? The one that actually kind of kept him alive for 3 months while he was missing after season one to season two.
right.
Um, I wouldn't be surprised if we have an unknown popping in. I think that would be kind of interesting to see where that goes.
Right. Yeah. Somebody had the
And
plane,
I, I
somebody.
I Okay, so you ready for my notes?
Go, go,
All
let's
right,
go.
let's see what we got. All right, so Ben finds the boxes in with the initials KUH, still trying to figure that out. Prepper, multiple caches. So here's the thing, like if you went through that degree of preparation, like he hand dug that tunnel or that pit, right? And he
Hmm.
stashed it. He established the cache. I'm curious if there's other caches out there because I don't think if you go through that effort, you're not going to have just one kind of location.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, let's see. I already talked about who's been talking to, noises in the woods. I wrote a note. It's like, where the fuck is the one-eyed bear? Oh yeah. What's her name? The devout Christian from season one. The chick that goes
Other
up in the
one.
plane.
Yeah. Good luck with that. I don't. I don't remember her name.
So yeah, right. I'm drawing a blank.
Been too long.
Anyways, she had a bear with one eye, and it seemed to be a focal point in season one. I'm kind of curious to see where if that turns into anything. Talked about long-haired silhouette and what's in the tape that Callie's got, man. Like, so we pretty much talked about everything that I was thinking. Love to hear what the comments are gonna say. Anyone that's actually watching right now, the five of you, which thanks for tuning in.
Three of
Hey
that is
man,
us, isn't it?
let's see what we got. All right, Mr. Archibald Rhetoric, Archie, friend of the channel, says interesting coach gives Mario hot chocolate. Yep, he sure does. And last time I saw Jackie became a snacky. That is accurate. And she
Right.
hallucinated the whole thing. No, no,
Mm-hmm.
no, no. I think it's Melissa stalking them. Really? So
Okay.
Melissa is the new love interest for Shauna in the past timeline, the lady with the hat backwards. Yeah, her allegiance to Shauna is kind of interesting. Like you definitely can tell that she doesn't want to be part of like, okay, I'm gonna use this term loosely so I don't get fucking offended, but the religious zealots of the group, like the
Mm.
ones that are following Lottie, she's just kind of established her like,
Right. Queen of the
wilderness
forest type thing.
wilderness religion kind of thing. Jen doesn't or Melissa, not Jen. Jen's the new hunter. Melissa doesn't seem to be buying into that, and I think she wants to side more with Shauna. So it's interesting to see the rift, man. And there's definitely a rift between Shauna and Mari, man. They're gonna fuck each other up at some point.
Oh yeah.
I still
Shauna,
think,
I'm team Shauna. I'll be honest with you. Shauna, the way
yeah.
Shauna did Lottie in, man,
Oh
Shauna
yeah.
beat the crap out of Lottie. I'm not messing with Shauna. Shauna knows how to gut deer. Like, no, I'm team Shauna for real. Like, no. There's no question.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see where it goes because like I could see Shauna in the current timeline like starting to fucking unravel because of her trauma kind of being passed to Callie.
Hmm.
So I'm interested, man. Like I'm hooked. Once again, I'm back. I love Yellowjackets. I think it's a phenomenal show. Um, I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, man. So, like I said, guys, these are just our two opinions. Please share what you guys think. Nothing's off the table, right?
Yeah,
No one knows except the writers, and they may even know. I mean, they might be letting AI write the damn thing. Who knows? But
I hope not.
definitely share it with us, man. Notification bells, like comments. This is a community thing. We want everyone's input on it, and somebody's gonna be right. Maybe I don't know. Like I'm still trying to figure From out, so we got plenty of theories on that when that season starts back up.
Yeah, not to
Uh,
mention Reacher's back out now. I'm still watching Paradise.
Dude, I don't have enough bandwidth. Like I watch this stuff and I sit here and I try to dissect it, and then you got people like FBR who just comes in with a big pad of I got the specific,
I
and
can't
let me
help
tell
it,
you about
man.
what
Like
happened in season
this
one
this
three
show's like a
years
fucking
ago.
addiction, dude. I love this show, man. I can't help it. This and From, man. Like I am all in. Both shows have got me hooked.
Yeah, I
I
got to
can't
do better,
stop.
man. I got to do better. I just can't be the hot cocoa. I got to do more, man. I got to do more research, man. I'm getting on my game. All right.
There you go.
Uh, but man, we appreciate you guys for checking us out, man. From the bottom of our hearts, we just love doing this. Like I said, retired veterans just trying to show some love about our movies and our shows. So definitely thank you guys for joining us. For myself, Big Nick Fury out here.
Hey guys, just before I sign off, there's a lot of chaos going around. And I just wanted to say that be the best human you can be and take care of each other because at the end of the day, we're all in this together. So we don't have to fight about everything. Just just be better people. Like that's what I strive to do every day. I try to be the best human being I can. So
Yep.
I'd ask the same of you. And
Yep.
if you guys are following us, that means you like us. So just take care of each other. So that's what I got.
Nice.
And we'll be back.